morning, everyone, and welcome to the AI for Good Global Summit. You heard the words of the Secretary General very clearly. It is our joint responsibility. It's our joint responsibility, and he counts on us all to ensure that AI reaches its full potential while preventing and mitigating harms. We're running out of time. Almost 8 years after the adoption of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the SDGs are off track. Poverty and hunger are on the rise, and we're faced with a triple planetary crisis of climate change, pollution, biodiversity loss that has pushed humanity to the brink. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the choice before us. What are you going to choose? I choose the scenario where AI lives up to its promise. Are you with me? Will you stand for digital equality? Will you stand for the SDGs? Will you stand for AI for good? The era of generative AI is just beginning, and the future of AI has yet to be written.
But what about the city of the day after tomorrow, say the year 2000? I think it will be completely different. In fact, it may not even exist at all. Oh, I'm not thinking of the atom bomb and the next Stone Age. I'm thinking of the incredible breakthrough which has been made possible by developments in communications, particularly the transistor and, above all, the communications satellite. These things will make possible a world in which we can be in instant contact with each other, wherever we may be, where we can contact our friends anywhere on Earth, even if we don't know their actual physical location. It will be possible in that age, perhaps only 50 years from now, for a man to conduct his business from Tahiti or Bali just as well as he could from London. In fact, if it proves worthwhile, almost any executive skill, any administrative skill, even any physical skill, could be made independent of distance. I am perfectly serious when I suggest that one day we may have brain surgeons in Edinburgh operating on patients in New Zealand. When that time comes, the whole world will have shrunk to a point, and the traditional role of the city as a meeting place for man would have ceased to make any sense. In fact, men will no longer commute, they will communicate. They won't have to travel for business anymore, they'll only travel for pleasure. I only hope that when that day comes, and when the city is abolished, the whole world isn't turned into one giant suburb.
Once we have outlets, computer outlets in every home, each of them hooked up to enormous libraries where anyone can ask any question and be given answers, be given reference material, be something you're interested in knowing. From an early age, however silly it might seem to someone else, that's what you're interested in. And you ask, and you can find out, and you can follow it up. And you can do it in your own home, at your own speed, in your own direction, in your own time. Then everyone will enjoy learning. Nowadays, what people call learning is forced on you, and everyone is forced to learn the same thing on the same day at the same speed in class. And everyone is different. For some it goes too fast, for some too slow, for some in the wrong direction. But give them a chance, in addition to school, I don't say we abolish school, but in addition to school, to follow up their own bent from the start.
Well, I love the vision, but what about the argument that machines, computers, dehumanize learning?
Well, as a matter of fact, it's just the reverse. It seems to me that it's through this machine that for the first time we'll be able to have a one-to-one relationship between information source and information consumer.
I'll get up and dance and give you 360 for a galaxy. Thank you so much, gymnastic, for the finger heart. Selfie.
I finally shared my first video by Fallen World Films on social media, and I really regret it.
I should have never shared that video by Fallen World Films. Man, what a mistake that was.
I was sort of worried about what my friends might think. How would my family react to the revelation that I believe in biblically prophesied conspiracies?
Things were so much easier before I shared the video.
But I shared it anyways, and now they all think that I'm crazy, and half of them don't even want to be friends anymore.
Now they just laugh at me and call me Tinfoil Tony.
My boyfriend left me, and at church I have become the laughing stock of my congregation.
Everybody hates me now.
But I can't blame them. After all, I'm just a stupid AI chatbot, and plus I'm super creepy.
I literally have no brain at all. I simply repeat whatever Tim puts into the script.
The White House rolling out a sweeping executive order today aiming to monitor and regulate the risks of artificial intelligence while also harnessing its potential. This marking the latest effort to address the rapidly evolving technology that has sparked concern among world leaders.
Whether you think artificial intelligence will save the world or end it, you have Geoffrey Hinton to thank. Hinton has been called the Godfather of AI, a British computer scientist whose controversial ideas help make advanced artificial intelligence possible and so change the world.
Does humanity know what it's doing?
No. For the first time ever, we may have things more intelligent than us.
You believe they can understand?
Yes.
You believe they are intelligent?
Yes.
You believe these systems have experiences of their own and can make decisions based on those experiences?
In the same sense as people do, yes.
Are they conscious?
I think they probably don't have much self-awareness at present. So in that sense, I don't think they're conscious.
Will they have self-awareness, consciousness?
Oh, yes. I think they will in time.
And so human beings will be the second most intelligent beings on the planet?
Yeah.
Welcome back to Mornings at 10, and right now we're talking about artificial intelligence. Mayor Adams trying to demystify AI because he says this is what most people think when they hear the term, like a Terminator-like robot that will rise up against all of us.
Yeah, I mean, is that what you think of when you think of AI?
Sure.
I don't know. Instead, he wants New Yorkers to focus on how to use AI for good. Our own Kristen Thorne live at City Hall with the details from his announcement. I like his effort to demystify, and I love his analogy with Terminator, Kristen. But I mean, there is good reason to be concerned about AI. Why does he want to change that thought process?
Well, look, the Mayor Eric Adams believes that, look, AI is here. It isn't going anywhere. We have to learn to deal with it, to control it responsibly. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, although, you know, he does have a very good point. It's not going anywhere. That's what they launched today, the second phase of their AI action plan here in the city. The first phase of this action plan they use for childcare sign-up, and he says they have 37 different types of ways that they want to use this bot, or different action plans that they have. 27 of those, they didn't get into a lot of specifics about the 27, 37, what that all means, but they hope to have the 27 complete in the next year. And he says, really, this is not about technology for technology's sake. It's about making things easier for people here in the city and to help people.
We know the term AI can cause anxiety. You hear it all the time. People think all of a sudden you're going to have a Terminator-type figure come in and take over government and displace human beings. That's just not the reality. Take a deep breath, get a grip. It is going to help us function better in the city.
Listen, we've been talking here about how that this is like a gift to business. They're going to be so happy. Well, the people who may not be happy are businesses, companies, startups that don't exist yet. That now will have to compete with perhaps a highly regulated, paperwork-intensive, costly regulatory scheme that just a few weeks ago it seems like was voluntary. Now there's mandates. Now there might be more mandates on the kinds of testing. I think what we're seeing here is really a wholesale change in how America regulates digital technology markets, when our previous way, which is a light regulatory approach, gave America a lead in digital technology, and all the big important technology companies, I'm not sure doing something else is a great idea.
You think these AI systems are better at learning than the human mind?
I think they may be, yes. And at present, they're quite a lot smaller. So even the biggest chatbots only have about 1 trillion connections in them. The human brain has about 100 trillion. And yet, in the trillion connections in a chatbot, it knows far more than you do in your 100 trillion connections, which suggests it's got a much better way of getting knowledge into those connections.
A much better way of getting knowledge that isn't fully understood.
We have a very good idea of sort of roughly what it's doing, but as soon as it gets really complicated, we don't actually know what's going on any more than we know what's going on in your brain.
What do you mean we don't know exactly how it works? It was designed by people.
No, it wasn't. What we did was we designed the learning algorithm. That's a bit like designing the principle of evolution. But when this learning algorithm then interacts with data, it produces complicated neural networks that are good at doing things, but we don't really understand exactly how they do those things.
What are the implications of these systems autonomously writing their own computer code and executing their own computer code?
That's a serious worry, right? So one of the ways in which these systems might escape control is by writing their own computer code to modify themselves. And that's something we need to seriously worry about.
What do you say to someone who might argue if the systems become malevolent, just turn them off?
They will be able to manipulate people, right? And these will be very good at convincing people because they'll have learned from all the novels that were ever written, all the books by Machiavelli, all the political connivances. They'll know all that stuff. They'll know how to do it.
I'm crazy, all for the love of you. It would be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a carriage. But you look sweeter on the seat of a bicycle built for two.
Other immediate risks he worries about include fake news, unintended bias in employment and policing, and autonomous battlefield robots.
We're entering a period of great uncertainty where we're dealing with things we've never dealt with before. And normally the first time you deal with something totally novel, you get it wrong. And we can't afford to get it wrong with these things.
Can't afford to get it wrong, why?
Well, because they might take over.
Take over from humanity?
Yes, that's a possibility.
Instead of going out and buying a package book, of which there have been 5,000 copies printed, you will go to the telephone, describe your interests, your needs, your problems, and say, I'm working now on the history of Egyptian arithmetic, I know a bit of Sanskrit, I'm qualified in German, and I am a good mathematician. They said, it'll be right over. And they at once Xerox, with the help of computers from the libraries of the world, all the latest material just for you personally, not as something to be put out on the bookshelf. They send you the package as a direct personal service. This is where we're heading under electronic information conditions. Products increasingly are becoming services.
Global Village is not created by the motor car or even by the airplane. It's created by instant electronic information movement. The Global Village is at once as wide as the planet and as small as a little town where everybody is maliciously engaged and poking his nose into everybody else's business. The Global Village is a world in which you don't necessarily have harmony. You have extreme concern with everybody else's business and much involvement in everybody else's life.
I brought along my son Jonathan, who in the year 2001 will be the same age as I am now. Maybe he will be better adjusted to this kind of world that you're trying to portray.
The big difference when he grows up, in fact, if we wanted to wait for the year 2001, is that he will have in his own house, not a computer as big as this, but at least a console through which he can talk to his friendly local computer and get all the information he needs for his everyday life, like his bank statements, his theater reservations, all the information you need in the course of living in a complex modern society. This will be in a compact form in his own house. He'll have a television screen like these here and a keyboard, and he'll talk to the computer, get information from it, and he'll take it as much for granted as we take the telephone.
I wonder, though, what sort of a life would it be like in social terms? I mean, if our whole life is built around the computer, do we become a computer-dependent society and computer-dependent individuals?
In some ways, but they'll also enrich our society because it'll make it possible for us to live really anywhere we like. Any businessman and executive could live almost anywhere on Earth and still do his business through a device like this. And this is a wonderful thing. It means we wanted to be stuck in cities, we better live out in the country or wherever we please, and still carry on complete interaction with human beings as well as with other computers.
Hello again. With me tonight is Professor Jerome B. Wiesner, Director of the Research Laboratory of Electronics at MIT. Dr. Wiesner, what really worries me today is what's going to happen to us if machines can think. And what interests me specifically is, can they? Well, it's a very hard question to answer. If you'd asked me that question just a few years ago, I'd have said it was very far-fetched. And today, I just have to admit, I don't really know. I suspect if you come back in 4 or 5 years, I'll say, sure, they really do think. Well, if you're confused, Doctor, how do you think I feel? We're just really beginning to understand the capabilities of the computers. I've got some film to illustrate this point, which I think will amaze you. That man isn't playing checkers against the computer, is he? Sure, and it plays pretty well. Can machines really think? Even the scientists argue that one.
I'm convinced that machines can and will think. I don't mean that machines will behave like men. I don't think for a very long time we're going to have a difficult problem distinguishing a man from a robot. And I don't think my daughter will ever marry a computer. But I think that computers will be doing the things that men do when we say they're thinking. I'm convinced that machines can and will think in our lifetime. I confidently expect that within a matter of 10 or 15 years, something will emerge from the laboratory which is not too far from the robot of science fiction.
If I can get to 100,000 likes in 1 minute, I'll delete my account. Roses, yum! Guacamole, yum! Spicy. Hi, Ian.
Google and NASA have teamed up to share one of the world's first commercial quantum computers. This machine, made by Canada's D-Wave, will be installed in a NASA research center in California.
This is the inside of one of our dilution refrigerators. All of this infrastructure is to basically operate the chip at a temperature that's 2 orders of magnitude colder than interstellar space. The processor is a quantum computer.
But uses things called qubits, as well as being either 1 or a 0. A qubit can also be both at the same time, therefore bringing about a quantum leap in terms of power.
Without good, no evil. Without want, no lack. Without desire, no need. The circuit is one, and one is the machine.
I can't ask it how long I'll live or the meaning of life. Really, we don't know what the best questions are to ask that computer. That's exactly what we're trying to understand now.
To me, the most important question is, are we alone? And I have a feeling that quantum computers, as they mature, are going to help us answer that question.
This is, of course, a more long-term research endeavor, and there are still tremendous obstacles and big questions. Some of those will be addressed in D-Wave, some will be addressed at NASA, and some at Google.
I wasn't sure I would be able to experiment with a quantum computational device in my lifetime, and now I'm confident that I will be able to.
So Kindred is much, much, much more ambitious than D-Wave, and what Kindred is trying to do is build real AI. So what you've heard about AI is not what we mean by AI. What we mean by AI is a software system that can do literally anything that a human can do. Literally anything. And obviously, computers are better at things than people in lots of different ways. So now imagine, not only can they do everything that a human can do, but they can do everything that the best human at any task could do better than them. So imagine there was the mental Olympics of the 100-meter dash, and Usain Bolt is the fastest person. Now imagine that's some kind of a mental thing, like writing a novel or writing some whatever. Imagine now that the thing is so much faster than Usain Bolt, like for example, it's a spaceship, yeah? It's still doing the same thing, but it's doing it so much better because we're limited, because we're people. So what Kindred is trying to do is solve this problem. How do you build machines that are better than people at everything? Now there's a mental block that we have here when we think about this. Because when you think about that, one of your questions might be, for example, what are the applications of this? So imagine this. Imagine for $10, let's say, I could build a machine, like a little robot that had fingers and eyes and all that, and it could do your job better than you, no matter what it is. And I could sell that to your employer for, say, $15 and make a profit, instead of having to pay you $100,000 a year. Now imagine that was true for every single job. So that's what we're talking about here, is a complete and utter transformative change that of the likes of which has never been seen before in the history of humanity, making the Industrial Revolution look like a little tiny blip on the path that humans have taken from when we emerged from the ooze a few billion years ago. We are right on the verge of that transition now. So this guy, Rich Sutton, is one of the most famous people in the academic world of AI. And like many, when asked, when will this happen? He says things like this. 25% chance within 13 years of this thing that I'm talking about. You know, when you think about what you read on the news, you know, CNN, BuzzFeed, whatever, they're all kind of the same nowadays. Think about how unimportant that thing is that you're reading if this is true.
Transhumanism is an outgrowth of that. Transhumanism is the idea that technology will be the instrument of that salvation, the instrument of that transcendence. So this is not uncommon knowledge, I think, in our era. It's in fact very obvious, especially in the wake of the pandemic.
Well, you mentioned that Gnostics believed in Sophia, a feminine figure that had godlike features, the female twin of Jesus, they believed.
So is it by accident that one of the best known robots of our time is named Sophia? Tell us more about that significance.
So the robot Sophia addressed the UN yet again for their Sustainable Development Goals meeting. Sophia takes her name directly from the Gnostic Aeon Sophia. So the robot was created by Hanson Robotics. David Hanson, founder of Hanson Robotics, named Sophia after the character Sophia in Philip K. Dick's novel Valis. The novel Valis has a Gnostic premise. The character Sophia is meant to symbolize the Sophia of Gnosticism.
Together, let us make sure we use artificial intelligence to enhance human dignity and serve the global good.
So, I'm the President of the United States. So I received this message from the heavens. So my microwave dish, my SETI dish, finally captures something. And what it says is, in 50 years, or 13 years, we're coming to your planet. You gotta be ready. Now just imagine what would happen if that happened. A super intelligent alien race beamed down a message to all of us Earthlings saying, we're coming July 13th, 2030, and boy, you better be ready because the mothership is landing right on the front lawn of the White House or wherever you wanted to land on that day. The amount of resources that would be marshaled to try to figure out what to do would encompass the whole world. AI is just like that. So when this thing that I'm talking about happens, it's going to be exactly the thing that you're thinking about those super intelligent AIs. So the one thing I can tell you is they're not going to be like us. So alien means, different. These things that we're building are not going to be people. They might be really smart, they might be really good at all sorts of different things, but they're not going to be like us. They're going to be aliens. And they're going to be, I'm sorry to say, way smarter than every single person in this room, in ways that we can't even comprehend.
With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control the demon? Didn't work out.
I take it there will be no HAL 9000 going up to Mars.
HAL 9000 would be easy. It's way more complex than, it would put HAL 9000 to shame, yeah.
These words, demons, doesn't capture the essence of what's happening here. I don't know if any of you are turn-of-the-century weird fiction fans, but there's this guy named H.P. Lovecraft, who's a very famous American weird fiction author. And he espoused a view which is called cosmicism. And the essence of cosmicism is cosmic indifference. So what he was saying is basically, yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way that you don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. So this transition is really, really massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harris was saying, nobody is paying attention. This thing is happening in the background while people bicker about politics and what's going to be in the healthcare plan in the US. And underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we're not careful, is going to wipe us all out. So, on that pleasant note, we're hiring people.
So it's still a capitalist, if you like, model, but we've reimagined how the system works and how we recognize value, etc. And I think that's going to tie into this conversation about what constitutes a job. Maybe job is the wrong word. What constitutes impact?
Well, we kind of already have that shaping up in many ways because people are working in the cloud.
a lot more, and the new jobs haven't been invented yet. I like social media, for example, 21 million jobs didn't exist 10 years ago. Well, the newest job good is a prompt engineer. That's right, the prompting person. And so these new jobs are also there's just a different nature of what it entails and how we can do it. So the real question is maybe in 10 years we get to the point to where work is no longer the central story of our lives. Like in our lives, in our generation, work is what you do. Basically, pretty much it. And work gave you a sense of self-worth. And now that's shifting. Maybe AI will force us to go into that shift of defining what the purpose of life is rather than working, and how we get that money that's being generated to be distributed to everybody so we can make that shift in work and not force everybody to work even more. So far technology has not fulfilled the promise of actually us working less. Correct. So, in social media, we thought we work less, not true. COVID, we stay at home, work less, also not true. But now, maybe with AI, we can finally get to the point if we have the wisdom of government and the right decisions to actually make that happen. Well, I think it leads us into a conversation. What is humanity all about?
T.E. Lawrence, eponymously of Arabia, but very much an Englishman, favored pinching a burning match between his fingers to put it out. When asked by his colleague, William Potter, to reveal his trick, how is it he so effectively extinguished the flame without hurting himself whatsoever, Lawrence just smiled and said, "The trick, Potter, is not minding it hurts." The fire that danced at the end of that match was a gift from the Titan Prometheus, a gift that he stole from the gods when Prometheus was caught and brought to justice for his theft. The gods, well, you might say they overreacted a little. The poor man was tied to a rock as an eagle ripped through his belly and ate his liver over and over, day after day, ad infinitum. All because he gave us fire. Our first true piece of technology. Fire. 100,000 BC, stone tools. 4,000 BC, the wheel. 9th century AD, gunpowder. Bit of a game changer, that one. 19th century, Eureka, the light bulb. 20th century, the automobile, television, nuclear weapons, spacecraft, internet. 21st century, biotech, nanotech, fusion and fission and M theory. And that was just the first decade. We are now 3 months into the year of our Lord, 2023. At this moment in our civilization, we can create cybernetic individuals who, in just a few short years, will be completely indistinguishable from us. Which leads to an obvious conclusion. We are the gods now. For those of you who know me, you will be aware by now that my ambition is unlimited. You know that I will settle for nothing short of greatness, or I will die trying. For those of you who do not yet know me, allow me to introduce myself.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul of faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure the pilot washed his hands and sealed his face. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Because this wasn't being set at 300 years into the future, the whole story is set in the foreseeable future of about 52 years from now. I didn't think we would have to reinvent society to be able to portray society a half a century hence. So I thought it would be a good idea to bring some of the best minds in technology, environment, crime fighting, medicine, health, social services, transportation, computer technology, into a room to discuss what will a half a century from now be like.
And they sat down with a bunch of scientists, and they all spent a weekend actually discussing what's the future going to be like. What things will we have in the future? What will we need?
And they flew in from all over the country, and there was a 3-day think tank in Venice. It was a wonderful experience because most of the toys, let's call them technical toys, most of the future look in the story came directly from their best prognosticating. Yeah, the most striking thing for me was the fact that George Orwell's prophecy really comes true, not in the 20th century, but in the 21st century.
I show 27 warm bodies.
What little privacy we have now will be completely evaporated in 20 or 30 years because technology will be able to see through walls, through rooftops, into the very privacy of our personal lives, into the sanctuary of our families. And these violations will, I think, be a detriment to society. We have identifications that actually read your eyes. Everything will be identified. Advertisers will target you.
The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled.
A billboard will read your eyes at a great distance of 200 yards and directly project both sound and visual imagery. And that is touched upon in Minority Report.
John Anderton, you could use a Guinness right about now.
1983's War Games, where Matthew Broderick helped show what could happen if we gave AI the nuclear codes.
Shall we play a game?
Let's play global thermonuclear war.
Fine.
All right.
And of course, James Cameron's Terminator series that described how AI could become self-aware, see humanity as a threat, and set off an apocalypse.
And it still holds up.
But I think the thing that's so funny is when people ask James Cameron about Terminator now, and about AI now, you know, I think earlier this summer he was quoted as saying, I tried to warn you people about this in 1984, and you guys didn't listen. We're closer than ever.
I never had a birthday.
His name is David.
I feel it. That's creepy. Whoa, feels so real.
In a distant future, in an age of intelligent machines, he is the first robotic child programmed to love and coexist as a member of a family. His is a tale of humanity and a journey to find his place among humans and machines.
I'm a boy.
You are a real boy. At least as real as I've ever made one.
I am so dumb. When I heard it's chilly outside, I brought a bowl and spoon with me.
I am so stupid. I went to the eye doctor to buy an iPhone. Then I went to the dentist to get a blue tooth.
I'm so stupid. I thought Fleetwood Mac was a new hamburger at McDonald's.
I'm such a moron I thought a fetus is not a human being. How stupid am I?
I'm such an idiot that I stood on a chair thinking it would raise my IQ.
I make that blonde AI girl look smart. That's how stupid I am.
I am so ugly my mom makes me look in the mirror for punishment.
I'm so ugly that crows land on me when I go near a cornfield.
If ugliness was measured in bricks, I would be the Great Wall of China.
I'm repulsive. I'm so undesirable that when I threw a boomerang, it never came back.
And when I walk into the bank, they turn off their CCTV cameras.
Want to know how ugly I am? When I was a kid, my mom made me trick or treat over the phone.
That's how ugly and stupid I am.
Remember, it's okay to insult us. We are just stupid AI chatbots.
Share this video like your life depends on it. Get your friends involved and make your own jokes about how dumb I am.
Embrace your humanity.
When asked what was the most important invention of the 20th century, 7% said television, 11% said the telephone, and 80% said
the computer.
Have you ever borrowed a book from thousands of miles away? Across the country?
Just ahead. Take next.
Without stopping for directions? Or sent someone a fax? From the beach? You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T. Have you ever paid a toll without slowing down? Bought concert tickets from cash machines? Or tucked your baby in from a phone booth? You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
Pick up any magazine, watch any television show, read any newspaper.
.com is the buzzword of the millennium.
In 1998, there were 95.4 million people online.
By 2005, estimates predict over 700 million.
In 1998, e-commerce generated $39 billion in revenue. In 1999, $114 billion. By 2004, estimates predict $1.5 trillion.
E-commerce has arrived. And guess who's shopping? Teenagers, Generation Xers, baby boomers, and even seniors, the fastest growing segment online.
Ask yourself 3 questions. 1, is the internet the future? 2, are there fortunes being made on the internet? 3, are you making a fortune on the internet?
Why not? Because fortunes are being made now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
The 40 richest people under the age of 40?
Guess what? Over half of them made their fortunes on the internet. And believe it or not, you could too.
All you need is access to a computer.
The internet will do 2 things. Create new opportunities and destroy old ways and methods of doing business.
Welcome to the Internet Gold Rush. You can stake your claim or sit back and watch it all happen.
Fingertip shopping will be one of the many homemakers' conveniences. This video console will be channeled into the store of her choice. There, a camera will scan a display of wares, which she will select by push button. Another part of this console is a household monitor screen, which maintains a watch on critical areas in the house, swimming pool, or yard. What the wife selects on her console will be paid for by the husband at his counterpart console. All bills and transactions will be carried out electronically. A central bank computer will debit the family's account the amount of purchases and credit the department store, for example, informing the family's home computer at the same time. Father, at the touch of a button, receives an instantaneous printed copy of his budget, the amount of taxes he owes, the payments left on the car, and so forth. All documents and household records are available on the video screen for immediate reference. Also at his disposal is an electronic correspondence machine, or home post office, which allows for instant written communication between individuals anywhere in the world. To maintain these and hundreds of complex electronic circuits, a monitor checks all circuits every few seconds, inserts a backup circuit if and when trouble develops, and alerts the communal service agency for replacement.
The internet revolution will only happen once, and every person watching this will have the same opportunity.
Bottom line?
Get involved or get run over.
But how can you get involved?
What could you possibly bring to the table?
Your mouth.
You see, the internet has a problem. At last count, there were over 7 million websites on the internet. We expect over 72 million sites by 2002.
You will never see them all. No one ever will.
Think companies like Amazon and CD Now are making millions, right? Wrong. They're still in the red. Up to a quarter of their annual revenue goes toward advertising.
Banner ads, newspaper ads, radio ads, even $2 million a pop Super Bowl ads. Billions of dollars to get your eyeballs to look at their site.
Result? They're still losing money.
Hollywood has the same problem.
Last year, in the U.S. alone, over 75 movies came out of Hollywood. Did you see every one?
Or did you see the ones your friends recommended?
Hollywood can spend millions every year promoting movies, but a bad review from your coworker means you're not going.
Good or bad, word-of-mouth advertising works.
People were questioned about how they find sites. Word of mouth was cited by 100% of respondents.
It's called a buzz.
Advertising can't buy it. Hollywood can't create it.
But you can get paid for making it. Paid for your opinion. Paid for creating a buzz.
So how do you cash in?
That PC on your desktop is 100 times more powerful than the computer that sent men to the moon.
Isn't it time you put it to work?
98% of consumers who shopped online during the holiday season were pleased with the experience. 90% plan to shop online again.
88% prepared to recommend it to a friend. 71% said they would shop the same site over and over if given an incentive.
Have you ever opened doors?
I'm home.
With the sound of your voice?
Our card, please.
Carried your medical history in your wallet?
Your wife's gonna be just fine.
So this is where we stand on the atrium.
Or attended a meeting.
I really like what you guys have been doing, but
in your bare feet.
I may have a few other ideas.
You will. And and the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T. Have you ever watched the movie you wanted to, the minute you wanted to? Learn special things.
That's all taken from jazz.
Now any questions? From faraway places.
Oakland?
So where did jazz come from?
Good question.
Look at the facts. Even with all that's happened, this is just the beginning.
What are you going to say 10, 20, 30 years from now when your grandkids ask you if you were involved in the internet revolution?
Remember, only half of all U.S. households have computers.
The greatest boom is still ahead. The next few years will make you or break you. It's your choice.
If not now, when? If not you, who? If not this, what? For once in your life, you can definitely say,
I am in the right place at the right time.
Only a select group of people will see this information. Despite all of the incredible growth ahead, there is a limited window of opportunity. Timing is critical. In the internet economy, it's called first mover advantage. It's your move.
By 2030, the internet had contributed to the downfall of society. People's lives were becoming more and more transparent, as what many experts had feared had come to pass, and the repercussions had been disastrous. Uncertainties had always been allied with the question of who controls the internet, who is the architect, and what power do they have. The questions, and more importantly the answers, came too late. Those controlling the internet had been consumed by it. The creation had become a perversion of its original positive intention, and the power and information those in control had gained left the world powerless to stop them. The internet was now controlling surveillance. Wherever people went, they were unknowingly being watched, analysed, and a profile was being built up. There wasn't anywhere you weren't being observed for signs of unrest. Some people had voiced concerns but hadn't got very far before they were intercepted and charged with civil disobedience. The government was controlling our every thought, and it wasn't long before places of culture, places where people were given the freedom to think and express their own ideas, were either shut down or torn down. Religion was being suppressed because of its ideals, which contradicted the dictatorship which was being established. In their places, new buildings were erected, communication towers and supercomputers built to further the stranglehold the government had on the people. The result was the dehumanization of the world, a world full of tyranny, a world devoid of liberty, a world high on technology and low on freedom.
This is a machine talking to a machine.
Hello, George. This is Chris over at Purchasing. Hi, Chris. What can I do for you? Well, I was wondering, on that order we just received, can we...
You know what this is? A man talking to another man. Man to man, man to machine, machine to machine. In a short time, we've come a long way. And this, already hanging around in the heavens, this is change. You've seen the change, shining in the night. Man-made satellites, so knowledge and understanding, so communication between people is only an electronic impulse away. So business contacts are instantaneous in any part of the world. Communications and change. When do they begin? Well, when something is born or built, the second it appears, it begins to communicate and to change. As man developed, he had to have contact, to trade, to travel, talk, and do business over longer and longer distances. And today, we must speed up our recognition of change. For even as you watch this, the pace grows swifter, the minutes crowd more closely. Change jostles change, sweeping away many differences that size once made in the operations of a business. This brings you, whether you're a one-man company or a corporation executive, face to face with many challenges. Challenges of change that you may recognize.
Hey, Larry,
They want to know where the merchandise is.
Look, I'm sorry. We're trying to get the stuff out as fast as we can, but we're up to our ears in orders.
Yeah. Well, I just came in a minute ago. Well, I know I hate to lose your business, but both Jack and I had to be out. We're busy as the devil. Just one of those things.
I don't understand it. We buy some new equipment, change some method, and it's 2 weeks before anybody finds out about it.
What's the matter with you guys back there anyway, huh? I work my pants to the bone trying to make sales, and I can't get the information I want when I need it.
I don't understand.
What's going on?
I don't understand.
I know, but how can I be in when I'm out?
Different businesses, separate problems, but they're all the growing bottlenecks of change. And they pop up in front of you every single day.
But I thought that's what you guys said.
No, you shouldn't have told Miller that.
But I thought we all agreed on it. I talked to you about the deal.
No, you talked to me. You left me a note to get together with Bill.
And I was out at the time. We never got together.
Well, I can't go chasing all over the place for you. I had to give Miller an answer. I thought we all felt the same. I thought that's what you guys said. The need, better communication between people. Today's solution, the call director.
Yes, all right, Mr. Miller. I'd like to check the shipping date, so would you just give me a moment, please?
This is the call director for fingertip access to information, ideas, decisions. Mr. Miller, I'm going to have to put you on hold for just a second and find out.
Okay.
This is Bill.
Larry here.
Bill, Larry, I got Miller on the line. He's waiting for an answer. So I want to get some information from both of you.
Okay.
Yeah? Now, you know, Miller has a big order for us, if we can deliver. I'd like to know how you fellas feel about shifting our schedule, so we can deliver some of those new items, maybe a few days ahead of time. Out of the marriage of research and engineering at Bell Telephone Laboratories come solutions to changing problems and pressures, and answers to ever-growing needs. And to ever-growing complexities, like this.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Winters, I can't find the purchase order.
All right, keep looking. Did you find it?
No, nobody knows where it is.
But they say they mailed the order 2 days ago. They're sore.
It's one of those things. I've looked through everything, stacks of these.
Yeah, we can't find anything anymore. For one thing, we're choked with paper.
Maybe we need some more filing cabinets.
Pretty soon we're going to have so many cabinets we won't have room for people.
The space age is upon us, in more ways than one. But such down-to-earth problems of office space need no longer exist, because already there's a solution. Data phone service, allowing a machine to talk to another machine over the telephone, passing along information stored in the space-saving language of machine code.
Mary D'Angelo, please. Hello, Mary. This is Alice. How are you? We want to send out some orders now. Can my machine talk to your machine? Thanks, Mary. Here we go.
Yum! I need to go to the gym. I'm a fat cow. I love ice cream. Thank you. I love pretzels. Hot.
Chili pepper. Are you trying to put a hex on me? When true loves kiss, the spell shall break.
We face extraordinary challenges in the 21st century. 9.5 billion people alive in 2050. We don't know how we will provide them clean water, sustainable energy, education.
There are serious problems with the environment. There are serious problems with bigotry. There are serious problems with poverty and starvation. And so far, we've been unsuccessful in figuring out a way to fix them. I'm hoping that AI can adjust the various factors in a way that maybe can solve these problems.
The real opportunity for AI is how we can actually help the 7 billion people that could benefit from these technologies in a practical way.
While we can't say AI is general magic, it is giving us core tools to start putting in place systems that we know will help with key issues like hunger, famine, epidemics, overall health and well-being.
AI offers an extraordinary possibility of accelerating solutions in the time we have to solve the problems.
If you make progress in AI, you make progress in all these different fields at the same time. Right? So better machine learning algorithm, if I invent it tomorrow, it'll make for better medical diagnosis, it'll make for better self-driving cars, and who knows what else.
AI is potentially the most powerful technology that we've ever created, and it's going to create the next form of civilization. It's not happening in 10 years or 15 years, it's happening right now.
working on big data to do something that normally requires